San Diego 2009. How was it? Emma asked behind me as I walked to class. Abby appeared on my other side. Tell us every single juicy detail, Spence. My mind floated back to last night. My cherry had officially been popped, but it wasn't at all like I'd imagined. That's what happens when you put something on a pedestal for so long. The kissing started passionate enough, but the smell of Viper's weed filled the room, a smell I despised. Marshall's affinity for weed was my least favorite thing about him. Marshall knew how much I hated the smell, so he abruptly stopped kissing me, grabbed a towel, and stuffed it under the door. Sweet, but a real mood killer. I took off my shirt and jeans in the meantime, and he returned to me, clearly aroused by the bulge in his jeans. God, you're gorgeous, Marshall said. I bit my lip and spread my legs, granting him access. Marshall was a savant on going down on me. He had 2 years to learn my favorite strokes and speeds. He began, and things finally felt right. My hips swayed in rhythm with his finger movement, and then heavy metal music started blasting through the wall. Seriously? Marshall popped his head up and glared towards the invisible music. Just keep going, it's fine, I said, trying to convince myself. Marshall dove back in, but the music was impossible to ignore. Come up here. Marshall joined me and put his full weight on me, something that always turned me on. This is a mess, he said, defeated. I stared into his eyes and could see his disappointment. I'd seen that look in his eyes so many times and wanted to make it better. I always did. Saving him fulfilled me. True, but it's our mess, Marsh, I whispered. He smiled and kissed my nose. I don't deserve you. No one does, I joked. But either way, I'm yours. Which was true. I would give that man anything. Even this. Trading my dream of this moment being so much more to make sure he didn't feel like a failure. People called me a people pleaser, but wasn't putting the needs of others before your own love? I grabbed the condom packet from the side table and handed it to him. I'm ready, I lied. It didn't hurt as much as people said it would, and I came, which most people said I wouldn't. And then, just like that, it was over. Marshall passed out in my arms as I stared at the white popcorn ceiling. I was no longer a virgin. Such a monumental thing, and I didn't feel any different. I always imagined my first time passionately ripping each other's clothes off and doing it repeatedly because we couldn't get enough of each other. Maybe we'd waited too long. I looked down at Marshall. It made me happy seeing him sleep for the first time after 2 years of loving him. He looked so peaceful, quiet as a mouse. I assumed all men snored. My dad and brother sounded like freight trains at night. I loved Marshall. I knew I did. But maybe our love belonged in high school. Spence, spill, Emma and Abby said. It was incredible, I lied. Marshall had the entire room covered in rose petals and dozens of candles. It was so romantic. Shut up! Abby lightly punched my arm. You're so lucky. My first time was in the car with the guy who tasted like Doritos and didn't know my name. Mine wasn't much better, Abby added. Maybe I was lucky. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was eons better than their first times. Did you know? Emma asked, bumping her hip into mine. Mm-hmm. No lying necessary there. God, I want a boyfriend to bang every time I feel like it, Emma said. I guess us single ladies will have to fend for ourselves this year. Enough about my sex life. How was your night? I hoped they'd say it was boring so I wouldn't have FOMO. It was amazing. Abby made out with Kyle, Emma said. Hey, that was my gossip to share, Abby protested. So, Spencer, while you were making sweet, sweet love to your boyfriend, I made out with Kyle on a sticky, beer-covered dresser. Sounds hot, I teased. It actually was super hot. He picked me up like I was light as a feather and pulled my hair, Abby said. A pang of fear that they were all bonding without me hit. Please tell me something's going on tonight, I said. Yep, round 2 in Kyle's room, Emma answered. Thank God.